Chris, what is our second main topic today?
Our second topic is from Vinny D. I'm not what you would call a hardcore Star Trek fan, but I've enjoyed Discovery and Picard well enough. I checked out the Strange New Worlds premiere, and I thought it was really good. And then I saw that the critic rating on the show is the highest rating ever for any Star Trek show.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And so, obviously, there's a new era of Star Trek. We got a bunch of things on Discovery Plus. I am somebody who I enjoy Discovery. Not the best thing I've seen on TV, but I enjoy it. I enjoyed Picard season 1. I got about 3 episodes into Picard season 2, and much like Better Call Saul, I just never got back to it, even though I was kind of enjoying it, but I haven't finished Picard season 2, so there's that. So one of the things, though, that I loved most about Discovery, though, was the introduction of Captain Pike and his crew with the Enterprise. And I just loved that collection of characters. So when they announced that they were going to be doing a spin-off series of that, and it was going to be Strange New Worlds of the Enterprise pre-Captain James T. Kirk, with Anson Mount as Captain Pike, I was very interested in it, and we'd see how it goes. Now, of course, new Star Trek, there's a lot of people who really like it, a lot of people who really don't. I think that's represented in this room in and of itself as well.
What are you saying?
The new show came out, and I'll tell you what, the response has been great. This comes to us from the folks over at Slash Film, who write the following. Anchored by the performance of Anson Mount as Captain Christopher Pike, and further buoyed by Ethan Peck's Spock and Rebecca Romijn's Number One, Slash Film's own review by Whitney Seibold was positively glowing, lauding the series as the best Star Trek show in decades. That praise is translated into a relatively more tangible results, as Strange New Worlds now boasts the best Rotten Tomatoes score of any of the dozen Star Trek shows to come into being through the franchise's 50-plus year history, with a pristine 98%, placing it ahead of the likes of Prodigy at 93%, Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine at 91%, and Discovery and Picard at 86%. And once again, that comes to us from Slash Film. Now, it should be noted that a lot of these reviewers and things like that got the first 5 episodes of the series. I have only seen 1.
Me too.
But I loved it. Like I was actually kind of taken aback by how much I enjoyed it. Again, I don't think it's on the same level as Yellowstone or Succession, but I thought it was fantastic. And again, I have doubled down on this unmitigated love for Anson Mount. I just think this dude carries it. He's very, very different than, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me kind of like of Daniel Craig's Bond, where, like, is he going to be one of the two main archetypes? Is he going to be the badass Sean Connery? Is he going to be the suave Roger Moore? And I started wondering, what's Anson Mount going to be? Is he going to be more the James T. Kirk kind of captain? Is he going to be more the Picard? And neither. He's created a third category. Like, he's a very distinct, unique captain in this. I loved it a lot. It had some really great overtures of the old original Star Trek, but still a very much a modern interpretation of it. So I dug it a lot. I'm not surprised to hear this score. I'm going to save Rob for last here on this, because I'm sure he's going to have some things to say. But anyway, Chris, I want to go over to you. Are you surprised to see the response the show is getting so far? And what have you thought?
Well, full disclosure, I have not seen the show yet. So I know, Ray, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ray. But I look forward to watching it. All the trailers for this looked really, really great. I really love Ansem. I think he was great on Discovery. So that is really, really cool. And I think that, you know, most people, I think, are open to new explorations within the Star Trek world. And I'm glad that this one is paying off well.
Into Strange New Worlds. Yeah. Have you or Tom, Aaron, had a chance to watch Strange New Worlds? Yes. You don't really strike me as a Star Trek house.
No, we are a Star Wars house, and I know the difference now. I will say I actually auditioned for this show way back in the day. I auditioned for the nurse role, and I will say that a lovely actress by the name of Jess Bush got it. So I am the first person to be able to say congratulations. She looks like she fits the role much better than I think I would have, but I got a chance to read some of they didn't send me the entire script for the first episode, but I got a chance to read the sides. And from what I read, it sounded great. I mean, a lot of times material for it was great material. I will leave it at that. I won't say what sometimes material in this genre can be, but I was really impressed with the writing. And I also have to say, if you like Anson Mount in Strange New Worlds, did you ever watch Hell on Wheels?
I've not. I've always had people tell me that I needed to watch that, but I've never seen him on that.
Hell on Wheels is such an incredible show. It's about the building of the the railroad in America, but the building of the railroad system. And it doesn't sound like something that a lot of people would be necessarily interested in, but I promise you the writing and the performances are so incredible. And that's what first introduced me to Anson Mount. And he is such a phenomenal actor. And as soon as I saw that he was going to be at the, in the number one position on this show, I said, you know what? I know that this guy has a very high caliber for the projects that he chooses. You don't see him in everything. He's very particular about the things that he chooses, but what he chooses really quality material. And from the little bit that I saw in the sides that I read for it like a year ago, I thought it was great material. So I'm actually looking forward to checking it out. I mean, remember, my first job was actually in Star Trek. Your first
TV job was a Star Trek.
Yes.
It was Enterprise, right?
It was Star Trek Enterprise as prostitute number 1 on the Carpenter Street episode. So I think I may have to renew my love for Star Trek and go check it out. Looks good to me.
Here, I was a little bit late to the game in watching I was a few days late watching the first episode. So Rob had a chance to see it before I did. And I knew this must be really good because when I asked Rob, what did you think about the first episode? He was like, it's all right. I'm like, what? So anyway, Rob, you're seeing the response that people are having to Star Trek and stuff like that. What do you think?
It's fine. How much time you got? Look, one of the things that I liked about Star Trek growing up is it progressed, it moved forward. You went from the original series to the motion picture. Time passed. And in the original series, they set up Pike. So Star Trek had a history. Then Next Generation took place 100 years later. Deep Space Nine and Voyager took place in that era. Enterprise went back and showed you sort of the beginnings of the Federation. It was all new. So from 1966 to 2005, Star Trek moved forward, gave us new characters, new scenarios, gave us things we hadn't seen before. Modern Star Trek, beginning in 2009.
Wait, are we getting a full dissertation on your feelings on modern Star Trek or your thoughts on this show?
Well, my thoughts on the show now is I think that Star Trek has stopped moving forward. Pike has gone back. It's a prequel series to the original series. Discovery is a prequel series. Picard is a sequel series. What we have not seen is and half the cast of Strange New Worlds was introduced in the original series. So, and they're missing a vital character that was in that episode with Pike when the cage, the menagerie, Dr. Boyce, and they had a great relationship. Nowhere to be found on the show. I am concerned as to why are we stuck in this era? And everybody's excited because they've recreated the format of the original series back from the 60s, as opposed to embracing. I like serialized storytelling. I think the strength of Discovery and Picard was its serialized nature. And now we literally have gone back 56 years to a format and a storytelling vehicle that has not progressed further.
Woo. All I can say is I don't know what you watched because I thought this was, first of all, I've heard a number of Star Trek, because we've got a lot of this in the Star Wars fandom too, believe you me, and I've been a part of this. I've heard so many fans of the original Star Trek complaining that they don't have enough of the original Star Trek in it, and then they have too much of the original Star Trek in it. I will tell you this. I thought this show in and of itself on its own merits. It was inventive. I thought it was a fresh take on, it was treading familiar ground, but in a fresh new way, and gave us a different perception of things. I just thought the show in and of itself on its own merits was just really enjoyable.
Well, it's beautifully made, and Anson Mount is great. He's great. This episode was a first contact story, and Star Trek has done first contact stories throughout its run. And I would say that one of the great things that Star Trek does, it used to be allegorical. So if they wanted to make a point, they would make a point in a sort of a roundabout way and show it to you through an alien perspective. Like you'd roll up and, like, in this case, this alien civilization is having a problem. They're going to destroy themselves. They've created a terrible weapon. But at the end of this episode, Anson Mount Pike literally says, here's the problem with your civilization. And they show footage of the January 6th insurrection that happened here in America last year. This is not allegory. This is
no, but it was poignant and it was applicable.
But you know what it is? It's also alienating to us, the viewership, because when you have Allegory,
Was it? Because I'm part of the viewership. I didn't find it alienating at all.
But the thing is, when you have Allegory, you can. The reason you do that is through a science fiction context, you don't piss off your audience who might be divided because of their political beliefs or whatever.
The original Star Trek had no problem doing that.
Well, no
problem doing that at all. That was one of the great things about the original Star Trek.
But the original Star Trek did it in an allegorical way.
Not really. Kirk kissing a horror was not allegorical.
Well, but
that was done specifically to push buttons.
Yes,
and they did.
Yes, it was. But the thing about that particular episode, Plato's stepchildren, they're being mind controlled.
By the way, can I just say I love the fact that you instantly know the name of the episode right
off
the top of your head. That's hardcore.
Look,
that is hardcore.
But I just think, look, when you do things like this, there's an episode of Star Trek called The Private Little War, where they couldn't talk about Vietnam on 60s television.
Right.
So what they did was they have a planet where the Klingons are arming one side, the Federation decides, well, we have to step in and arm the other side. Otherwise, the villagers are going to wipe out the nice hill people.
Right.
And so McCoy and Kirk have this great debate about whether they should do this. And McCoy is like, if you arm this other side, you are condemning these people to decades of war. And Kirk is like, we have to, Doctor, otherwise they're gonna be slaughtered. And so they didn't address Vietnam directly, but you understood through what was happening on this planet that it was very similar to something that was going on Earth. And viewers then could understand that, and it gave them something to think about rather than telling them what to think. Pike told the viewers in this episode what to think, and they used something that absolutely occurred on our...
The only difference between the two scenarios is that one couldn't make a direct reference to the events they were talking about, and one was allowed to make a direct reference to the events. That was the only difference.
But it's just...
Anyway, we can't drag this into a 20-minute discussion on New Star Trek was old. But overall, I was surprised to hear you say, because I haven't heard you say you didn't dislike a new episode of Star Trek in a while.
Look, there's a lot to like in this show. After one episode, though, I just, again, it comes back to the writing. I think Star Trek has done first contact stories better than this episode did. And I also find it strange that, Captain Pike has seen his own death because of Discovery.
Right.
And it's not actually, he didn't actually die. He was injured. But he hasn't seen what happened to him after that, where he goes back to Talos 4 and he lives out his life in this life of illusion, and something more could have happened. I think it's kind of odd because what is the thing about, if you know your future, John, you would be able to change it. If you knew something tragic happened to you.
Well, that's the big sci-fi fantasy question, right?
Because of the space-time continuum.
Yeah, if you know the future, can you change it? That's a classic. That's a classic
I know, but
question in sci-fi.
Big sci-fi boy over here, Lord.
All right, listen, we got to move on here. We spend about way too much time on this topic. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is now the #1 critically rated Star Trek show of all time. Now, granted, though, all the other shows have got to get those ratings after full series runs. This one's after 5 episodes. But anyway, what do you guys think about that so far? Whatever your thoughts are, jump into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey, guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Harry's. Now, take a look at me. When is the last time you saw me have this close and smooth of a shave? The answer is never, because I haven't been using the Harry's starter set until now. Using Harry's, I have gotten the most comfortable, smoothest shave that I've had in years, and that's no exaggeration. And right now, Harry's is giving their best offer to our viewers and listeners. First-time Harry's customers can redeem a starter set for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. That includes a 5-blade cartridge, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. That's a $13 value, all for just $3. Seriously, guys, why pay so much more for other products when Harry's prioritizes simple, quality craftsmanship at a fair price? And it is time to move on from blades that barely hold up, because with Harry's, guys who've tried it say that their 8th shave is just as sharp as their first. And you're going to have a really hard time finding other competitors that have a satisfaction rating as high as Harry's. And they're still offering a no-risk trial. You don't like your shave? No problem. It's on them. New look, same incredible offer. There's really never been a better time to give Harry's a try. Just go to harrys.com/Campea today and get your starter set for just $3. That's harrys.com/Campea.